this is going to be a pharmacy, and here he just wants a little office area. So we're just going to build a box room. Okay, so we're going to have a wall here, and a wall and door frame in the front. And at the top, we're going to have a series of square boxes going all the way around. That's what the client has requested, just for ventilation.
We've already supplied all of the materials. In this course, I will also do a document listing how much all of the materials cost and how much we made on this job. But first things first, like any other job we do, we get a work area sorted and we get all of the tools we need to do this job. So right now, we're going to get set up.
Jeez. Okay. It's kind of lighter than I thought it would be. Should be the right nose.
So once I've got my work area sorted and all my tools at the ready, I then get my chalk line, get it filled up with the chalk. I then get my tape measure and make my marks based on the measurements the client has gave me. When setting out, I need to take into consideration the sockets and the lights. So I get my laser level set up, and as you can see, the measurement the client has gave me is a bit too close to the light. So using my chalk line and laser level, I made a mark slightly a bit more in from the light. And here is the mark.
What we do now, we're going to make up the frame. We're going to make up this frame. We're going to make up that frame. And we're going to make up this frame, okay? But right now, I'm going to get you to cut all the timbers, okay? So the room's going to be 8 foot wide by 6.5 foot that way, okay? Long.
So we know the length and the width of the office area, but to determine the height, what I'm doing is I'm getting 2 lengths of timber, putting them on the floor, and then I'm going to use my laser distance finder to get the height.
So I've put 2 studs down and I've used my laser distance finder to get the distance. Okay, so the header and the sole plate, that's the distance for the studs.
Here I'm just cutting back the skirting so the sole plate can sit against the wall, so there's no need to notch out.
So I've just made a notch in the skirting.
Now that the setting out is basically all done, I've set Tyrell, the apprentice, to cut all of the timber while I make up the door lining. Since we've already went over this in detail in the door lining course, I'm going to quickly do a time lapse to go over this. By the time I'd finished the door lining, Tyrell had some of the timber cut up so I could build the frame. So right now I'm going to quickly build the perimeter of the frame, and then I'll show you how I done all my working outs.
so as you can see, the frame is just being made up now. Now I'm going to mark out for the 400 centers. So from the end of the wall, you want the 400 studs, okay? So you want 4, 8, 12, 16, and that's going to be the center of your timber. So what I've done here first is I've marked out 382 and then put an X on it. Okay, so this is where my stud is going to be positioned, because 382, it gives me half of the stud. When I place the stud up against the 382, that's half of the stud. The stud is 35 mil, half of that is 17.5. So you can either get your 400, then come 17.5 on each of them, or you can get your 400, come 17.5, and then just make your marks from here, okay? From here to here, it's going to be 4, 8, 12, 16, okay? So let me explain that a bit better. So the first one, come 400, come 17.5 away from that, and then the rest will literally just be 400 centers. So 4, 8, 12, and then so on. There is another way of doing this, which is 600 centers, okay? So you can have it just 600 center, 1200 center, and then that'll be it. But the client does want to attach stuff to this wall, so I've put extra studs, extra noggins in. We're going a bit overkill with this, because with a wall like this, we've got a stud here, stud here. We don't really need to do it at 400 centers, but that's the reason why we're doing it at 400 centers, because the client wants to attach stuff to this wall. So yeah, let's get the studs cut. So with the noggins, I'm putting them 1200 high. Is what it looks like. Now this is over constructed. It's got a lot of studs in. As you can see, we could have came out 600 and it would have been sufficient. But as I've said, the client wants to hold some stuff on this wall. I don't know what yet, but this is the way we're doing it too, because we're attaching stuff to this wall.
On this wall, we also have to put the studs up here, so we create the square spaces that the client wants.
So what he said is to do it around about 460. So that's what we've done. We've done it bang on for, have I done it bang on? Yeah, 460, 460, okay? So the spacings in between are also gonna be 460. The way I worked it out is, got the overall width here is 1,450 minus the thickness of the timber, which is 35 plus 35 is 3670, and then divide that by how many squares he wants, which is divide that by 3, and that's 460, bang on. So what we're going to do is measure 460, put a stud there, 460, put a stud there. So here, as you can see, this is what it's going to look like. 460, and then measure 460, and then another 460, okay? And then we know that this is also 460. So we know that's a perfect square. Okay, so now completed. But I'll also show you how to do the corners as well and the front part. So yeah. Okay, so now that we got the two sides in place, what I'm gonna do is just fix them. So I'm gonna get it all plumb, level, get them all in the right spot, and then fix them down. I am drilling into the floor with concrete screws, and the same with the back wall, okay? And because it's a normal standard internal wall, we don't need to use any bolts or anything like that. We can literally just use concrete screws, and I'll show you how we're doing that now.
So here I've cut the sole plate and I'm going to use this as a type of guide.
So these are the concrete screws. So there's literally no need for any wall plugs. Literally just drill into the wall and use these screws, and it will provide a very good fixing. Nice. So we use the 3, 4, 5 method to check and to get things square. Okay, and the way we do this is getting 3 of any measurement, 4 of any measurement, and then diagonally it should be 5. Okay, so we're going to use 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot. Okay, 3 foot, 4 foot. Between the two marks, it should be 5 foot. And if it is, then we know that this is square. And that is bang on. Okay. The stud to here is 3 foot. On the skirting is 4 foot. And then as you can see, this, when we get the two marks on, so the tape measures on that mark, and it's bang on 5 foot. Okay. So now that we know that this is square, we can start fixing down to the floor. What I am going to do now is just use the template piece, pull it up to here, and I know that because this measurement is the same as the back measurement, all I need to do is make this suit this piece of timber, and I know that this will hold everything square. Okay, what we're going to do now is just fix this side. Perfect. Okay, so now that the two frames are in, I'm just going to start putting the noggins in, and then that would be the two sides completed. So I'm going to cut up the noggins, put them in, get them fixed, and then just start working on the front frame. So yeah, let's do that real quick. This side square, that side square. Okay, and this is the one way of fixing the noggin. So as you can see, it's in a straight line. Everything is level. Let's see. Yep, everything is level with each other. Everything is plumb with each other. If we was going to put the plasterboard on horizontal, which is this way, half on the noggin, and then once we put the other board on, it will also be half on the noggin, and it provides good strength as well. Now that we've done it the straight way, so you know that this is one way of fixing the studs. The other way is doing it the staggered method, which I'll show you now. Up, down, and then up again. And that's the way of doing it staggered, but I'll show you now. And that's a solid wall. You can see that's level with that, that's level with that, and that's level with that, okay? And then the bottom ones should be level with each other. Yeah, that's level, and that's level. So, yeah, we know that it's all perfect. Now, we can get the front frame in. Okay, so now that the two sides are fully completed, I can start getting the front frame assembled and put in place. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how I determine my corner. So the way that we can do this corner is we put the plasterboard on first. Imagine we put the plasterboard on first, and then we can build our frame off of the plasterboard. So the plasterboard has support, as you see, it's going to be attached to this. And then our frame is going to be wedged against it. Okay, so now that this frame is built up, both frames are built up, what we're gonna do is just build up the center frame, what's gonna have a door lining in as well. So let's get the measurement here at the bottom again. Always go into the bottom because this is, I know that this is fixed and square. So 2.137. Okay, so that's perfect. Now, so now that I've got my measurement, I just need to cut 2 of that because, again, we put in the sole plate, the header, the 2 studs, the jack stud, and then the door frame. Okay, but I'll just cut 2 of these now. Okay, this time we're going to build it in situ. So the way that we build it in situ is literally just building it in place. Okay, so we're not going to put it on the floor and then build it on the floor and then pull it in place. We're going to build it where it is. Okay, just to show you the 2 different ways of doing it, prefabricated and in situ. So this way is going to be in situ. Okay, so the way that I'm going to mark out my door opening is literally just measure the door frame, find my center point, come either side, because I want this to be bang on center. So I'm getting my center point, measuring either side. Can you help me?
At this point, I went to the builder's merchant to get the plasterer's materials.
Okay, so I went out to get the plasterer's stuff, leaving Tyrell on the job. He's put the 2 sides of plasterboard on. He's went a little bit overkill with the screws.
As you probably noticed, we covered the square openings at the top. This is to make it easier to do the cutout with a multi-tool. We literally just use a timber as a guide and cut out the opening. So right now, I'm going to leave Tyrell to finish off the plasterboarding while I finish off making up this front frame. And then after that, I'm going to get the plasterer in to plaster. And then we're going to finish off the office build and turn it into a pharmacy.
insulation, perfect squares. We got the door out front, skirting architrave door frame put in. 3 squares on this side as well. And the skirting dies, we've had to join it to this piece here. And on the inside, skirting around. We didn't do the back part that was already there, but we just joined our skirting to here. Architrave door, doors closing good. 3mm gap going all the way around. Very clean on the door and frame. Okay, so yeah, that's a job well done.